Hello everyone. So after unlocking Platinum on sniper rifles and marksman rifles in Modern Warfare, the next class I decided to move on to was the LMGs. In around 10 days I got Platinum on them, and I wanted to make this video to give some tips for those of you going for Platinum LMGs and also give some of my thoughts on how I found the experience. As always with these weapon class guide videos, there's going to be some timestamps in the description below marking each section of the video if you just wanted to get to a specific part. The light machine guns, more commonly known as LMGs, are a class of fully automatic guns that have the best damage range and magazine capacity for a fully automatic weapon at the cost of a considerably slower movement speed and aim down sight speed. In real life, LMGs have an open bolt design where the bolt of the gun isn't against the bullet in the chamber like the closed bolt design in the majority of rifles, so when you pull the trigger, the bolt has to pick up a bullet and then fire, whereas with closed bolt designs, that round is already in the chamber, so when you pull the trigger, all the gun has to do is fire. Quick firearm lesson aside, for realism purposes, this was added into the game by Infinity Ward, and this basically means that in nearly all of the LMGs in the game, the exceptions being the SA-87 and the Holger 26, there will be a delay between when you pull the trigger and when the gun actually fires. This delay is 67 milliseconds, which might not sound like a lot, but it is quite noticeable in game and can get you killed a lot. Because of the open bolt delay and the overall slowness of LMGs, they typically aren't great in close range combat and instead specialise in mid to long range combat. As for each particular LMG, the PKM is a Russian made LMG with an average fire rate and damage. It has a base ammo capacity of 100 rounds, which is standard for LMGs, however it has the slowest reload not just out of all the LMGs, but in the entire game, with a reload time of nearly 9 seconds. Staying on the topic of ammo, the PKM is the only LMG in the game that you can expand all the way up to 200 rounds with. The PKM also has one of, if not the best attachment in the game, with the Snatch Grip underbarrel attachment. This attachment greatly improves your ADS speed as well as your recoil control. And because of this attachment in particular, as well as the other attachments that speed up your ADS, the PKM has the fastest possible ADS out of all the LMGs you have to do for Damascus. The SA-87 is the most unusual out of the LMGs as it looks more like an AR than an LMG. It doesn't have many of the requirements of a gun to be considered an LMG, such as an ammunition belt, and instead uses magazines of 30 rounds. And it also doesn't have an open bolt design, and therefore no open bolt delay. It's got the quickest reload, sprint to fire, and movement speed out of all the LMGs, however it has the slowest fire rate as well. Although this gun is overall the least slowest out of all the LMGs, it's still noticeably slower than an AR, and definitely still feels like an LMG, so don't be fooled by its appearance. The M91 is very much your typical LMG. It doesn't specialise in any particular area, however it's not particularly the worst in any area either. It's got a base ammo capacity of 100 rounds, which is standard for LMGs, and its reload time is 7 seconds, which believe it or not is actually the second best LMG reload time after the SA-87. Finally, the MG34 is a German-made LMG from World War II that has by far the highest fire rate out of all the LMGs. That being said, it also has the worst ADS and movement speed, and its reload speed is nearly identical to the PKM, being close to 9 seconds. It also has a base ammo capacity of 50 rounds, which is bad enough for an LMG that takes so long to reload, but taking into consideration the insane fire rate of this gun and how quickly you're going to burn through those bullets, it's literally better to kill yourself when you've run out of ammo instead of reloading with this gun. That being said, the MG34 has the quickest time to kill out of all the LMGs in the game, and it can melt through people. Do keep in mind that the Holger 26, the Bruin Mark 9 and the Finn are all not necessary to gold in order to get Platinum for LMGs, as they are all DLC weapons. As for the best order to do LMGs, I'd recommend starting with the M91 to familiarise yourself with the feel of LMGs, as it's a very typical LMG. Then move on to the SA-87, then use the MG34, and finally finish out with the PKM. The loadout you're going to want to run while going for Platinum LMGs is for your primary, use the LMG you're on obviously. For your secondary, if you haven't gotten Platinum on launchers yet, use the launcher to passively shoot down kill streaks, but if you've already gotten Platinum on launchers, I'd recommend using a knife as a secondary to switch to when you're moving around the map, because the movement speed of the LMGs is tragically slow. For perk 1, use Cold Blooded so you don't have to worry about enemy kill streaks shooting at you. For perk 2, run Ghost so you can stay off the radar on UAVs and personal radars. And for perk 3, normally I'd recommend running Battle Hardened, but with LMGs I'd recommend using Amped so you can quickly swap back from your knife to your LMG before getting into a gunfight. And if you're using a launcher instead of a knife as your secondary, Amped will greatly help with your reload speed, so I'd say Amped is the best perk 3 to go for all around. For tactical, use a stim shot so you can replenish your health, and for your lethal, run a thermite to deny areas as well as be able to quickly kill yourself when you run out of ammo. As for the best attachments for LMGs, for the majority of the time, when you're going for every camo except Woodland, Splinter, Topo and Reptile, you're going to want to make your ADS speed as fast as possible, even if it means sacrificing an underbarrel for recoil control. The base ADS speed for LMGs is very slow and will often lose you gunfights, so you're going to want to put on the shortest barrel, tack laser, stippled grip tape, no stock, and an optic of your choice, preferably a low magnification one so you lose as little ADS as possible. For when you're going for woodland, splinter and topo camo challenges, which is getting headshot kills, longshot kills and mounted kills respectively, you should be using a build that maximizes recoil control, damage range and bullet velocity. So put on the monolithic suppressor, the longest barrel, attack laser, no stock and an optic of your choice. I'll throw up some screenshots of the different attachment builds for each LMG right now. I would also recommend saving these two different builds as custom mods, so that way you'll be able to quickly switch between builds much quicker in game, and you'll be able to keep any reticle or camos that you've put on it that you can change in game otherwise. The max level of LMGs is in the high 50s, so if you have a lot of double weapon XP tokens to use, or you just find LMGs pretty difficult, I'd recommend using a few of your double weapon XP tokens while you're leveling up your LMGs. You're going to want to be as productive as possible with the amount of time you have with your tokens, so don't go for camo challenges while using double weapon XP tokens because you're not going to get as much kills. So instead, just try to get as many kills as you possibly can in that time your double weapon XP token is activated. To level up LMGs, you can get away with going into core and doing it, but you'll get way more kills in hardcore, so I'd recommend playing hardcore instead. And as I'm scripting this video, hardcore shoot the ship is out, and this is what you should be playing 100% of the time to get the most kills. I'd recommend playing decently aggressive, but don't be too aggressive because with the open ball delay as well as the overall slowness of LMGs, they're not the best guns to get all up in the enemy's face. Instead, I'd recommend peeking corners and pre-firing a lot because it will effectively nullify the open ball delay because you're already firing your gun, and you have so much ammo that you can afford to lose a few extra bullets, so pre-firing is a pretty good strat with the LMGs. Moving on to the camo challenges, the first camo challenge you will unlock is spray paint, and this is getting 525 kills. This is a camo challenge you're not going to have to focus on at all, and you'll do it passively while going for other camo challenges. For woodland, you have to get 75 headshot kills, and you're generally going to do this camo challenge passively, but if you're stuck on it, if hardcore shoot the ship is out when you're watching this, you should equip the build I said earlier for long range, and mount up on the middle head glitch and shoe house, and wait for enemies to pop their heads up. Their head and a little bit of their chest will show up, so it will be a headshot kill the majority of the time. However, if shoot the ship is not out while you're watching this video, I'd recommend you try flank behind enemy lines and take that extra amount of time you have to line up that easy headshot. The next common challenge you have to do is digital, and this is getting 65 crouching kills. For this, I'd recommend going for it as soon as you unlock it as it's pretty annoying. Just crouch walk every time you peek a corner where you know enemies will be, and whenever you see someone that's AFK or that can't see you, take that extra amount of time you have to crouch before getting the free kill. Dragon is 45 hipfire kills, and for this camo challenge put on the no stock, 5mm laser, Merc foregrip, stipple grip tape and shortest barrel to maximise your hipfire accuracy and your sprint to fire speed, and since it's an LMG, just hold down the trigger and spray bullets in the direction of your enemies, and a lot of them will hit. For Splinter and Topo, this is getting 45 long shot and mounted kills respectively, and the reason I put these two together is because you should be doing them at the same time. Put on the long range build I mentioned earlier, and if shoot the ship is out when you're watching this, mount up on the head glitch and shoe house, and if you kill an enemy that's on the other head glitch, it will always be a long shot kill. And since you're mounted, it will also be a mounted kill, so you're getting 2 camos in 1 kill. However, if shoot the ship isn't out when you're watching this is going to be a lot harder. In this case, I'd recommend equipping Tune Up as your third perk so you can get your field upgrade more often, and select the deployable cover field upgrade. Then, in whatever map you're on, find a spot where you can get long shots, put down the deployable cover and just camp it. If the spot you're on already has a place for you to mount up, use the tactical insertion field upgrade instead so you can spawn there again when you die. For Tiger, this is getting 180 kills with all attachments. You're going to do this camo challenge without having to focus on it, because the majority of the time you'll have all 5 attachments on your LMG. For Stripes, you must get 30 double kills, and this is yet another camo challenge you're going to do passively, because whenever you kill 2 people in a short amount of time, it will count as a double kill, so you won't have to focus on this challenge. For Reptile, you have to get 75 kills with no attachments, and this isn't going to be great as the LMGs are painfully slow without any attachments to speed them up. I'd recommend trying to cherry pick shipment lobbies because you get the most kills in shipment and you're just going to have to get through it. Thankfully, it's only 75 kills, so it shouldn't take you any more than 3 games to do. And finally for Skulls, this is getting 25 3 kill streaks, and for this I'd recommend playing decently aggressive for your first 2 kills, and then slow down and play a bit more conservatively to get that 3rd kill. Also, pay attention to the bottom text after you get a kill, as well as the kill streaks indicators on the right side of the screen to know how much of a kill streak you're on. As for my personal thoughts on the experience of getting Platinum for LMGs, it was a complete letdown to be totally honest. I was really excited for LMGs because I barely used most of them, especially not in multiplayer. However, after doing them, I now know why I've never used them. LMGs are just so slow. They have a slow ADS speed, a slow movement speed, a slow sprint to fire speed, and add that to the fact that all LMGs bar one have an open bolt delay, there's just too much that LMGs do badly to make up for what they do better than ARs, which is just a slightly better damage range as well as a better ammo capacity. But these upsides are just not worth the amount of downsides that come with using an LMG over an AR. The LMGs are just balanced so poorly in this game. There's literally no instance where you should be using an LMG over an assault rifle. And the open bolt delay, it's nice on paper to have a detail like that added for realism, but the amount of times I've died when I've had my gun aimed at someone and I've pulled the trigger only for them to kill me with their gun that doesn't have open bolt delay, it just becomes a perfect example of why sometimes realism shouldn't be prioritised over the actual practicality of using a gun. As for my thoughts on each LMG, I started out with the M91 and I was surprised how much I had this thing leveled up before I started using it. I had it leveled up all the way to level 33 without using it a single time in multiplayer, and this was purely due to how long it was ground loot in Modern Warfare Warzone and how much I used it. This gun wasn't that great until I unlocked a no stock attachment that gives you much better ADS and movement speed, which made it feel like an entirely different gun, and I actually did alright. The next gun I did was the SA-87, and this gun gives the illusion of being like an AR with its 30 round magazine instead of an ammo belt like the other LMGs, but it really doesn't feel much faster than any of the other LMGs, and the fire rate was pretty slow, making this gun just not really fun to use overall. And although it's very different to the other LMGs, this is a very forgettable gun to me. Next up was the MG34, and this gun was very slow and the ADS was pretty diabolical. But when you were aimed on sights, the super high fire rate that this gun has makes it shred through people, and it was actually pretty fun to use. Although I wasn't a fan of the 50 round default ammo capacity. That is not good for any LMG that takes that long to reload, but with the insane fire rate that this gun has, 50 rounds is nowhere near enough, and I should definitely have 100 rounds by default. However, overall, this gun was pretty fun to use. Finished out with a PKM, and I really love using this gun in Warzone, and it's probably in my top 3 most used gun for Warzone, so I had a lot of progress done already, and all I had left to do was mount it and no attachment kills. The amazing snatch grip underbarrel attachment in particular, as well as the other attachments, made this gun the only LMG that I could get respectable ADS on, and it beamed people. I really love this gun, and it's one of the few guns that I'm considering getting Obsidian for after I get Damascus. If I were to rank each LMG in order from worst to best, it would go SA-87 down at the bottom, then just above it I would have the M91, then the MG34, and right on top it's the beast itself, the PKM. So yeah, LMGs have been platinumed. Overall, LMGs were a pretty unique class, but not in a good way. As I said, I was hugely disappointed with LMGs, and aside from the riot shield, they are definitely the worst primaries I've platinumed so far, and likely the worst primaries I ever will platinum. I really weren't expecting them to be that bad, and if I did, I would have done them first to get them out of the way. If it were up to me, I'd increase the damage per bullet, damage range and the bullet velocity of the LMGs, as well as greatly reducing the open bolt delay to make them much better than ARs at longer ranges. However, ARs would still outgun them in closer ranges due to their quicker ADS speed. As I'm scripting this video, I'm 2 shotguns away from getting platinum, so expect a video on them coming out soon. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave it a like, and if you didn't, please leave it a dislike and tell me why. And if anyone has gotten or are currently trying to get platinum for LMGs, do you share my disappointment in them, or do you actually quite enjoy the LMGs? I'll be interested to discuss with you in the comments below. We are getting very close to Damascus now, so if you want to follow my Damascus journey on a more regular basis, I posted a lot about it on my Instagram at RombarkYT if you want to follow it. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, and take care of yourselves.